All right, we got a late breaking response. I just got back from a family walk here, and it's Blake Lively time versus Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively responds. Breaking news. This just came out, I think, right in the last hour or two. And we're going to share for you what she had to say about the warring subpoenas. Now, these responses come out as we wait for the judge to make a ruling on what they're going to allow in the courtroom. So, as I shared several hours ago, the first letter we had was from Justin Baldoni, where he said that they met on February 20th to confer on the telephone about the subpoena, where Blake Lively wanted too much, wanted all the documents, the data logs, the cell site location information. The Lively parties refused to withdraw their request for call and text logs, regardless of whether these logs revealed when, how frequently, and with whom the Wayfair parties, their employees, and various non-party individuals communicated. So they said that was too much. Justin Baldoni's side said Blake Lively's asking for too much. And again, Blake Lively now has issued her response, which we're going to get into. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm covering, I've got a very great video for you coming out. Make sure you're subscribed. We're trying to get to 125,000 this week. We've got several lawyers that are going to blow your socks off with their predictions. I'll give you a hint. They think it's going to settle, and they even tell me what date they think it's going to settle. So stick around. I'm teasing that. It's coming out tomorrow morning. You're really going to enjoy that conversation. All right, here's Blake Lively's response, February 24th. Is that today? That is today. So here's her response for today. Dear Judge Lyman, we write to address the Wayfarers Party letter to the court in connection with the court's February 19th order taking under advisement the Wayfair Party's letter motion for discovery. That letter motion concerns purported objections to third-party subpoenas served by Miss Lively. On February 20th, the parties held a meet and confer. Why wasn't I invited? Can you get me in on the call? Can they just do this on a live stream? Why don't we do this? You come on my live stream. We'll do the whole settlement for everyone to see. We'll have super chats. It'll be a lot of fun, right? Anybody? Can we get Taylor Swift to join? I don't know. Just a thought. All right. So they say they meet up on February 20th. The parties held a meet and confer, during which counsel were able to agree that removing any request for locational data from the subpoenas and providing express language to clarify, as had previously been communicated to the Wayfair parties, that the request applied exclusively to non-content information, would allay certain of the Wayfair parties' concerns. Nonetheless, counsel for the Wayfair parties continued to maintain that the subpoenas were overbroad. Counsel for Ms. Lively expressly requested that the Wayfair parties identify any modifications that would allay their concerns with the subpoena's putative overbreadth, but the only limitation that the Wayfair parties were able to identify was their demand that Ms. Lively limit her request to contacts with specific third-party telephone numbers identified in advance. As Ms. Lively's counsel noted, such a limitation is inappropriate given the purpose of the specific discovery sought and the purpose of discovery generally. So I think what they're saying is, you want us to limit it to these certain people, but we don't even know. Maybe there's jabronis we don't even know about that are involved. And, I don't know, does Blake Lively's team have a point? If they're looking for evidence, clearly they're going to want to see as much evidence as they can, but at the same time, is that how it's supposed to be done? Aren't you supposed to know what you're looking for? The burden of persuasion in a motion to quash a subpoena is borne by the movant in subpoenas served on Lloyd's Banking. So they cite their case study. Let's go to this footer right here before we move on. To crystallize their position as to the subpoena's putative overbreadth, by the way, what nauseating language, these lawyers with their stupid bow ties. Putative overbreadth? I never thought I would have to say putative overbreadth. It sounds like the type of the way you describe a bad one-night stand. Hey, Dave, how did it go last night? Oh, my gosh. The putative overbreadth was... Okay, you know the point. Counsel for the Wayfair parties indicated that the subpoenas, as issued, would problematically reveal whether Mr. Baldoni communicated with 5 mistresses or whether he had communications with 5 psychiatrists. While a non-content subpoena would not reveal the identity of either mistresses or psychiatrists, it would reveal vitally important information about the phone numbers defendants contacted and when they did so, each of which is highly relevant to Miss Lively's retaliation and defamation claims, as well as being entirely permissible in the court of ordinary discovery. You know what's interesting about this right here? This is like when you say, hey, do you still beat your wife? You're asking a question that no one could properly defend because you're assuming that they actually did beat their wife, right? And even in their explanation, they're saying, hey, we're not trying to say he had 5 mistresses or anything. It's kind of like planting in the public the opinion that why does Justin Baldoni have so much to hide? Let me read that one more time. Just the first sentence. To crystallize their position as to the subpoena's putative overbreadth, counsel for the Wayfair parties indicated that the subpoenas, as issued, would problematically reveal whether Mr. Baldoni communicated with 5 mistresses or whether he had communicated with 5 psychiatrists. Well, again, are they using this example? And I don't know. Are they using this example because this is the example the Wayfair parties indicated, or are they introducing, hey, what do you got to hide? Are there mistresses over there? I could be reading into this. It's late in the day. It's Monday. The Wayfair parties had fallen far short of that burden, making instead only general and conclusory objections as to the overbreadth of the subpoenas, initially going so far as to assert that no case law needed to be shared with counsel for the Lively Reynolds parties on the issue. Courts in this circuit have consistently held that it is insufficient for movants to make only general and conclusory objections in the context of a motion to quash. By the way, it's hard to read these things out loud. You know what I mean? I have a state school education. The Wayfair parties' most recent letter underscores their fundamental misunderstanding of the fact that discovery of carrier records is not only permissible, but routine in federal litigation. In the words of their own cited authority, the only question before the court is whether the disclosure of the telephone records is reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence. Here, the parties are at the outset of discovery. Miss Lively seeks communications among the Wayfair parties and specifically other individuals who have already appeared on communications trying them to the performance of publicity, crisis, or digital services. What they're saying is, we want to see what the hell is in the Jed Wallace files. Such information is reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence regarding communications, not only among the defendants, but among the larger network of individuals who perpetuated the untraceable campaign against Miss Lively. And as in sovereign partners, the requested records fit easily within this broad definition of relevance. Listen, I've said this before. I want the truth to come out. So me, selfishly, I want all of this to become record, but I don't always get what I want, and whether or not that's too broad of a request, I have no idea. The Wayfair party's baseline objection to the production of carrier records that they reveal communications with others fails to acknowledge that there are no privacy or privilege interests in such information. And they cite another case. So, I don't know. The Wayfair parties have not identified legal authority standing for the proposition that subpoenas to telecommunications carriers must or even should be limited as they propose. Into the contrary, courts regularly permit such discovery. So then on the footnotes, they show, some more citations there, which I don't think is too important. People will let me know if I'm wrong. Moreover, the Wayfair parties continue to fail to address their lack of standing to assert such objections on behalf of the non-party individuals whose information is sought in the subpoena. And I think by non-party individuals, they're still talking about Jed Wallace. It's wrapping up. In the interest of resolving the parties' dispute, and notwithstanding the appropriateness of the initial subpoenas, last week Ms. Lively provided through counsel notices of intent to serve modified subpoenas to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, U.S. The modified subpoenas remove the request for locational data, further tailor the applicable time periods, and specify on their face that they seek only basic subscriber information, that is, call logs and text logs reflecting non-content numerical information regarding ingoing and outgoing calls or text messages related to identified telephone numbers over specified time periods. Notwithstanding defendants' continued objections to these modified subpoenas, Ms. Lively stands ready to issue them pending resolution of the present motion by this court. Those modified subpoenas, like the initial subpoenas, are reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence regarding such matters as the pattern of communications among the Wayfair parties and unknown associates during Miss Lively's alleged harassment, as well as the inception, duration, and scope of the untraceable retaliatory campaign against her that followed. So I guess Mr. Gottlieb's way of framing this is they said this would all be untraceable, which means we need to be able to trace it, So we need to see what's so untraceable about all of this. What are they trying to hide? And again, I don't know if they are trying to hide anything. I mean, of course they are. They're not going to want anything to come out that wouldn't normally come out. But at the same time, I don't know. Where do you guys stand? What's reasonable? I feel like a lot of people might be like me. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not a lawyer, and I have no idea. I have no idea what's traceable, what's not, what's within the scope and what's not. But I did talk to a couple lawyers just now, and I'm airing that in my first video after tomorrow morning's Rush Hour podcast. So double check, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you guys then. I gotta go. It's time to watch Bachelor. Bye now.